Welcome to 10-Minute Trade Hacks, a quick hit series from the Blue Collar Future podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Robison, and in under 10 minutes, I'll give you one simple practical hack to level up your trade. Let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about hydration and heat and beating it and staying protected on the job site. Everybody has these issues. Everybody has problems with, dehydration at one point or another. People don't drink enough water. A lot of people have different ideas about that. Here's a few tips you can take into your life to help mitigate that, help to stay safe on the job. Tip number one of the first trade hack of this series: figure out how you like to bring water. A lot of people like to do it different. It's fairly important to have cold water for the ease of drinking. So a lot of people will either take water bottles in a cooler, they'll bring a 5-gallon jug, fill it up with a bunch of ice and water, and fill an individual bottle up with it. They'll bring a gallon bottle and put ice in, which is what I like to do. However you can keep your water cold and keep you interested in drinking it in the first place is going to help you on the job. Now, you don't want ice cold water all the time, because it actually doesn't help you that much. It shocks your system, doesn't help you hydrate as easily. But to keep kind of cooler water in general rather than hot water will make it easier to drink. Now, a lot of people might say that's, silly and that's obvious, but that's hard to remember for a lot of people. It's hard to realize that there are other ways to figure it out. I personally think that bringing a cooler and bringing plastic water bottles and buying ice every day is kind of a waste and kind of a pain, because then you got to deal with the water in the cooler and buying the water bottles all the time, and it's just not worth it to me. And the 5-gallon jug takes up a bunch of space. If you have other ways that you bring your water, let me know in the comments. Reach out to me. I like to share tips on how people bring water, but I've been doing the 1-gallon bottle lately and trying to make sure that throughout the day I drink the whole thing. And all I do is in the morning put some ice in it and fill it up, and it's not too cold throughout the day, and it's pleasant to drink, but it's not hot, and that's the important part. Tip number 2, electrolyte packs. I usually have an electrolyte pack in the morning or the afternoon, sometimes both. Electrolytes are super crucial for staying hydrated. Without electrolytes, the water won't do anything for your body. So if you can figure out a way to have electrolytes throughout the day, that's going to benefit you in staying hydrated and beating the heat. One way also to do that is to make sure you're getting enough salt in your diet, because salt is an electrolyte and will help hydrate your body when you're drinking all that water. If you're just drinking water with no electrolytes, that is not going to do you any good. Sugar isn't really all that great for this, and so it's a wonder that Gatorade sells so much, having a bunch of sugar in them, even though they're supposed to help you hydrate and replenish. And drinking all those energy drinks and all of that other stuff, coffee, and I'm guilty of all of it, makes you need to figure out how to combat that with water, because we have more and more things nowadays that fake our body into thinking that we're hydrated, and we're not. I can stay on top of this myself because I don't have all of these thoughts running around in my head keeping me distracted all day, because I have a software like Jobber. Jobber helps me keep my project in line, keep my tasks straight, and allow me the opportunity to focus more on my work and what I'm doing and take care of myself and stay hydrated. For a free trial, click the link in the show notes below. Tip number 3, bring a sun shirt. Now, a lot of people have seen the Hispanic people on their job sites wearing, hoodies when it's 100 degrees out in the summer. That's pretty crazy. I'm not saying do that, but I have been wearing sun shirts lately. They're super thin and breathable, and they allow you to sweat a little bit, but they still cool you down, and then they keep the sun off your skin, which is a big thing. The sun being on your skin just takes all of the energy out of you, and it really makes or breaks the day. Trying to stay hydrated and being in the heat when you have no protection from the sun. And I stumbled across this because I hate sunscreen. Started wearing sun shirts, and then I started to realize that I was less tired at the end of the day when I'd get home, even if I hadn't been as hydrated and hadn't drank as much water. But for me, when I'm drinking, let's say 3/4 or a half of my gallon water jug at work and wearing a sun shirt, I get home, and even if it's 100 degrees, almost feel like it was nothing. Especially after I've acclimated at home and gotten in the shower and cleaned up for the day, it almost feels like it's the start of the day, and work's already done. Here's a bonus tip for you. Make sure to drink water when you wake up. Too many people, myself included, start the day with an energy drink and don't drink any water all throughout the day, or they will start the day with coffee, which is more of my affliction here. Wake up and drink coffee and act like it's all fine and dandy. What I started to do is just make sure I'm drinking water for however much coffee I'm drinking in the morning, and it's been great, especially to make sure that you get a little bit of hydration in the morning and before you start drinking coffee. And actually, here's a bonus to that tip is to, if you are drinking so much water that you're going to the bathroom every 10 15 minutes, you're probably drinking too much water. You want to be at the point where you're not going to the bathroom constantly, but where you feel like you're doing pretty good in the day. The hard part about all of this, and why this is important to talk about, is because you can go all day a lot of times without drinking any water. There's a lot of times I can go throughout the whole day of work without drinking any water, and that doesn't help me because the next day I end up feeling that, and that is when this job becomes hard. Is when you're staying outside so often, sweating, being in the sun, and you're not replenishing your body of the water that you've lost. It really takes a toll and makes the next day go worse and worse, and it's a slippery slope to the point where you'll end up getting dehydration sickness, or you'll even come down with a cold or flu-like symptoms from being dehydrated. And this happens to a lot of people, happens a lot, especially happens to me typically in the fall and the spring. In those change of seasons here in Utah, we have a really hot summer, and our fall is pretty mild. But when we go into winter, we have a really cold and dry winter. We have a lot of snow, but the air here is dry. Anyways, this all adds up to being very detrimental for your hydration. When it starts to get colder, you don't feel as thirsty because you're not actively sweating and being out in the sun. So it gets harder to drink water, and then when you drink less water, you get dehydrated more. Your body is your number one tool. Take care of your shit, and it will take care of you. That's today's trade hack. Put it to work and see the difference on your next job. For more tips, tune in every week right here on the Blue Collar Future podcast. Until next time, keep building your future.